All views expressed in this podcast are those of the individuals participating and do not necessarily represent those of the Department of the Air Force or the Department of Defense. All right, welcome back to Live at 835. Here at Detachment 835, I'm your host, Cadet Kunran. Today joining me is Staff Sergeant Martin. It's where we take an exploratory look into the stories, experiences, and insights of current, future, and retired leaders. To gain further insight on what it takes to be a leader in today's Air Force, whether you're a cadet, an alumni, or someone interested in AFROTC, you're in the right place. What's going on, Staff Sergeant Martin?
What's going on, man? I'm a little nervous. You guys got me nervous in here.
You ain't gonna be nervous.
Never done anything.
You ain't gonna
like
be nervous
this.
around me. You know, it's just a bunch of cadets.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a quick question for you.
All
It's a
right.
really important question.
Go ahead.
When's my EAD?
So funny thing is that I don't have it yet.
Oh,
Sorry.
nice. All right, so
Yeah,
nothing's changed.
No, not since you've asked yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you probably every day.
That's fine. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you guys. You
So-
can ask me and bug me every day.
That's good. We know why you're here. You help us. You're like the heartbeat of Detachment 835. I think if anyone has like a problem, issue, paperwork, question of the Air Force, is that going to disqualify me via DOD-MERP? I think you're like the first person we run to. We're like, hey, just talk to Staff Sergeant Martin.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel knowing that like you're the one that a lot of people being new to the Air Force immediately go to?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think when I call it, I guess, just the regular Air Force. I work in the CSS, so Commander Support Squadron, or section, not squadron. So I directly work for the commander, do his programs. So it's kind of hard to tie in my job and kind of see the bigger picture. But when I'm here and I'm helping you guys and I get to see your final, commission, I get to see my product, right? So you guys are literally my product. So
Yeah.
Anytime I get to help you with DOM or commissioning, contracting, pay, scholarships, whatever else is underneath my belt, I get to see that come in later when you guys commission and get to put on the butter bar. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience.
No, I'll say from my personal experience, there's definitely been times that I know that I've been stressed out beyond belief. I hadn't really said anything. You're like, dude, why didn't you just come to me and like ask? Like, I can look that up for you.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, like, I didn't want to bother you.
Yeah.
So if any of you out there and you're like, I have a question I need to ask, or you're stressing about it, go talk to them.
Dude, I am not a mean guy. I try to help you guys as much as possible. I know when I was an airman, I didn't want to ask for help either.
Yeah.
So I just found a way to get in the AFIs. So I know where to go and look.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys should not sit in the dark in a corner
Yeah.
and just be in the not know. I'll get you in the know.
So when you get those like notifications, and we'll start with the good, how does it feel when you're like one of the first people to kind of figure out like, you know, someone's got an EA, someone that's been waiting for DOD-MERP to get approved, or like, you know, like for me, it was my security clearance. I was like, I don't know anything to let me back in. I was a good boy, I swear. And you're like, yeah, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, it's very I don't know. I can't think of the word that I want to use, but it's I guess it's part of my job. But however, when you guys get those things and I get to see you guys happy, that makes me happy. So just getting to tell you guys, hey, you're going here, or hey, you're EADing literally next week after you commission.
Yeah.
Man, it makes my job a lot easier knowing that I get to help you guys and make a direct impact on you guys. So it makes my job easier and a lot more fun when I get to see that. Yeah.
And not to like kind of, you know, rain on that parade, but well, how does it impact you whenever you see someone that is, you know, what you like look to is like that guy has, or that girl, that person has credible traits. They have these leadership traits. They do everything, but it doesn't happen for them. Like, is it take like a little toll on you to be like, to maybe sometimes be the person to be the bearer of bad news?
So are you meaning like they just don't, like we dead drop them? Is that what you're talking about?
We never officially debt drop anyone.
Yeah, of course.
But, but
we
it's
keep
like, you know,
everybody.
let's just say something happens. There was a cadet here that had just had medical issues, just randomly. And it was just like,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I got you. So that part of my job, sorry wherever this is going, but that part of my job does suck. I hate delivering bad news. So when I have to tell somebody, hey, you don't meet DOMR qualifications, man. There's nothing that we can do to continue on with the process. So we're gonna have to let you go, man. That part sucks because this is y'all's dream, right? So this is when cadets are coming into this program, this is what they want to do. This is their dream. This is their future, right? This is all they think about. So to tell somebody like, hey, you don't meet the standards or you can no longer continue the program, that part of my job, that's probably the worst part, is having to tell somebody the bad news of you just don't make the cut, man. So
yeah, I think there might be a little bit of a stigma that there's some people whenever they do get that news for whatever reason, GPA, fitness, or let's just say, medical, they think that you kind of, all of cadre might just like shrug it off and be like, hey, you know what? There'll be more next year. But I think it's kind of a, not refreshing, but kind of a relief for people to know, like, again, you may be an NCO, but you're still a person.
Yeah.
They may be a major, captain, lieutenant colonel. There's still a person behind it.
Right.
To know that you guys have that kind of investment into the people in this program,
yeah,
I think it's just something that not enough people may realize. So it's great that that's coming out right now.
Yeah, and me and Major Matu, we just talked about this morning, or I was kind of telling her how that's how I kind of view it, is that, yeah, we're in the Air Force. We're trying to get you guys to the endpoint, which is commissioning.
Yeah.
But we're people first, right? And we all have feelings, and we don't I guess grow attached to you guys, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are, lack of better words, our kids at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So I get to go home, be with my kids, and then come here, and you guys are my kids. It's a little weird, but we grow attached to you guys, and we have a right to do right by you guys, right? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like we're people at the end of the day.
Now, I don't think there's anything weird about saying anything like that. I mean, depending on who you were, we heard it from a general once, like, it's your brand. You guys are cementing the brand of what an NCO is supposed to be, of what a major is supposed to be. Whether that brand is positive or negative is going to be up to that cadet to kind of process. But I know for sure that I come in here and I'm like, Staff Sergeant Martin here?
Yeah.
Oh, he's not here. My day just kind of got a little bit like, I don't get to go, do my daily joke with you or bug you about EAD. Or even sometimes, for instance, when Major Freisinger was gone for what felt like months, and it was like, I've only been gone for like 6 weeks. I was like, I don't know. I feel like you just haven't been here. Even now, the lore of Major Freisinger kind of lives on through, like, how awesome his quips were for dining out. And stuff like that, I think, is like the bond we build right now is like, it's going to be pretty hard to forget. Yeah. Maybe there'll be a couple tough love lessons along the way, as is needed sometimes. But I think overall, like, the impact you guys have as in cadre is pretty positive in my opinion. Yeah,
I think that's good. I think at the end of the day, I want to be a light for the NCO Corps. So once you guys go on active duty, I'm the good example that you guys should be looking for. Yeah. Because there are bad examples out there, and I want to be that shining NCO for you guys, so you guys know what a good example of an NCO is. So I'm hoping I fulfill that for you guys.
No, absolutely. At least in my opinion, I've being on the opposite side myself at some points, I can definitely honestly say that there was, some dark times in my career field where I was like, that NCO is kind of like the jaded one, and it's like, why are you so unhappy? He's like, oh, just get out of my face. I've never really seen you be that way here. And so for the first take, I think it's going to be, again, paramount for them to be like, oh, not every NCO I have is going to be this cheery or like willing to do something or like unbothered, which brings me into the segue here. Like, we're going to switch gears real quick, going from ROTC now going operational. Yep. Everyone here likes to call it the big blue. They, say the big Air Force, but, active duty, operational are the terms they really need to get accustomed to. What are some of the things that you look for in your leaders?
Man, I guess Colonel Campese is probably like a good example, because he really knows how to, I guess, take care of his people. So that's one of the things I like to look for, is that not all leaders are there for their people. They're kind of just there to get a rank, get to the next rank. But Colonel Campese, you can kind of tell that he doesn't care about that, right? So overall, just caring about your people and the way they mentor their people, right?
Yeah, you're not Colonel just saying that because he's your boss, right? Like,
no. Okay, of course not. Of course not. No, never. I would never do that. But he will take the time and he will mentor anybody.
Yeah.
He'll stop at AS 100 in the middle of the hallway and talk to him for hours about the Air Force, about life, about real estate, which he's big into, everything. So I think those are two big ones. Is that just his overall willingness to be a mentor, and then just caring for his people. You can just see that just the way he engages with you guys. He engages with us as cadre, and just cares about our well-being and our family outside of the Air Force.
Yeah, and so we have a great example of like what a positive leader is in your eyes. Do you have any memory of what maybe less desirable, or like one you were just like, me and him were just not on the same wavelength, and I just couldn't get behind the way he would approach things?
Man, so this is gonna sound silly, but I have been so blessed in my career that I have not had what I consider, and maybe I'm just oblivious, but I have never had a bad leader. I have never had a bad commander. Where some days they came in cranky, maybe. Same thing with chiefs. I've never had a bad chief. Some of the chiefs are cranky, but they just need their coffee and then they're good to go, right?
Yeah.
But for me in my career, I've never experienced a bad overall leader that had a negative impact on my career.
And we're just gonna keep peeling that back. Do you think that's because of like your AFSC specifically, or like you just might just be lucky enough to be like, hey, sometimes the odds just are in your favor. You're gonna get a good assignment and a good leader, and it's gonna continue on.
Yeah. So I think it and I'm probably gonna say this again, but I think I was just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
In all of my assignments, working in the CSS, I get to go to the Indy Squadron, right? So I get to go. I've only been at 2 bases, right? So this is my second assignment, and then Robbins Air Force Base was my first. And at Robbins, I was only at the OSS, which you're familiar with.
Yeah.
And then I was at Security Forces. So those are two vastly different things.
I just made a face there. You're like, I was at OSS. I was like, okay, those mongrels. And you said Security Forces. Like, ugh. Okay.
Yeah. So those are two different spectrums. We have the weather guys over there. We didn't have as many flyers. Robbins was kind of weird with their OSS. I know sometimes they will have flyers attached to them, but those guys were over on the other side of the airfield.
Yeah.
So we had like weather, some comm guys and stuff like that. But yeah, Security Forces.
Different beast, a little bit.
They're different over there.
Different in a good way.
Yeah,
though,
different
right?
in a good way.
Yeah,
they're good people. They mean well. Yeah. But
at least they melt the crowns before they eat them, kind of vibe.
there you go. Yeah.
So I think what I really want to go back to is, like you said, Colonel Campisi had, I'm going to use the word genuine care for you, genuine care for his people.
Yep.
And then whenever you're having a conversation with someone, let's just say you're at a social gathering, family function, or someone else's kid's birthday party, and you have those typical, around the grill talks. You're like, oh, those burgers? And they're like, yeah, those are burgers. Do you think it would impact you a little bit more if you can tell that they were being insincere about what you wanted to get out of your career or your goals?
What do you mean by that?
Do you think you can tell if someone's being insincere based on how they talk to you?
I think so. I think if somebody, I think you can just tell by the tone of voice, maybe, that, and maybe like eye contact and stuff like that they just generally do not care. But you can, but on the other spectrum, you can tell that Colonel Campisi does care, because not only does he want to get to know you, he also wants to push you towards your goals, right?
Yeah.
So OTS, for me and Sergeant Messina, it's a thing. Some things happened in my life here recently that I'm putting OTS on the back burner. But he is always actively pushing us towards our goals, which I think is kind of what you're digging for, is that he's very sincere in actively being a part of our lives. So always pushing us towards our goals and things like that.
So when you talk to members outside of your career field, what are some of the things that you may hear from them just because you've had such a fortunate career of like what they're like, I just don't like this lieutenant, I don't like this captain because of X, Y, or Z? What are some of the common themes you hear?
Yeah, I think just generally not caring. Maybe not. I know that when I deployed to Kuwait, there was maybe an officer. You could tell like what officer was liked and what officer wasn't, right? If the maintenance officer was out there turning wrenches with the airmen and doing things like that and troubleshooting jets, you could tell that those officers were liked a whole lot more than the officers that were avoiding the heat.
Got you.
And things like that, and avoiding work. I guess they can't avoid work because they're directly underneath the commander, so they always have something to do. But you can just tell who was liked more, and I think it's just being that people person, and generally just being out there suffering because the heat sucks out there. So suffering with the airmen out there. So
okay, that's really good insight. And there was something during all that doesn't have to deal with leadership. It was the opportunity that you wanted for OTS that I really want to hone in on now.
Yeah.
At what point did you decide, like, hey, this is an option? And then two, maybe kind of like myself, I was like, I can do this. Or you're like, I see it happening in front of me.
Yeah.
I can also do this.
Yeah. So I think so when I was at Robbins, so my background is administration. So there was a tech sergeant that was in administration, and she put in a package, and I got to see her go through the whole process and then actually go to OTS and commission. So I think at that point, it put in my mind like, hey, I can actually do this. This is something that because coming in, I just wanted a job, honestly.
Yeah.
I was fresh out of college, didn't know what I wanted to do. Always wanted to join the military, but so I joined, but that was all I knew. And then I learned about the officer route and OTS. So I think it's always something that I wanted to do. So it was always the bigger picture. Whether I get there is cool, and I'm always going to work towards it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be too mad. I do like the enlisted side, but I think seeing her go through it, and then me seeing that bigger picture and wanting to strive to get there is what really motivates me to put in a package for OTS.
I got you.
Eventually.
Did you ever go through all the steps of like putting together that package?
No. I have been watching Sergeant Messina. So Sergeant Messina, I hope I'm not telling too much of your information, but he is currently, I think you guys are tracking that he's putting in a package right now.
I think he's told some,
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of.
No.
Like,
yeah. It's just his information, so I don't want to tell.
So
too
yeah,
much.
like the main reason I'm asking Sergeant Messina, if you're watching, isn't necessarily to like get into y'all's business too much. It's to kind of bring the reality of like what OTS is.
Yeah.
Because so many people here are like, well, ROTC didn't work out.
No.
So you know what? I'm just gonna go OTS, and I'm like, listen to me, guys. There's a reason why I'm doing ROTC. It's because I was very intimidated by how much you needed to do for OTS.
Yeah.
And so when you guys are talking about, you and Technical Sergeant Messina, I'm just like, props to you, because I didn't have the attention span for it.
Yeah. So sorry. Let me back up. OTS. If you're thinking about OTS, OTS is probably the hardest route outside of actually going to the academy, because there's so much and it's so competitive, because you're going up against not only civilians, but you're also going up against other enlisted members, right? So it's super competitive, and the process is so lengthy. There's so many documents that have to be in order and have to be correct and have to go through your chain of command, and you have to get letters of recommendation. It's just it's a big mess. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I will put a thing in there. ROTC is the way to go.
Okay.
If I were 50-50 about maybe getting in, maybe getting out, I think I may have done what you did.
Yeah.
Got out and then came the ROTC route, because I do believe, not saying that ROTC is easy in any way, because I mean you had to relearn everything.
Yeah, those bear crawls are really getting me right now. So
Yeah. So I think ROTC is so much of a better route. But I think the process for us, it's going to be harder. But I think if we get picked up, it's going to be a little bit, I guess we can say, yay, we did it, type of hoorah.
I think that'd be awesome to like kind of say that you submitted an OTS package and got selected.
Yeah.
I mean, one, it shows that you invested into yourself. You're confident in yourself. Two of the things which I didn't. If I were to compare my package to yours or even Sergeant Messina's, I would be so intimidated. I would not even put myself into the same board.
Man, I've seen Sergeant Messina. Sergeant Messina's is.
And it was one of those things he was like talking about. He's like, I don't even know if I had a good one. I was like, what did you do? And he told me about the Pentagon work and stuff. I was like, if you don't have a good package, then I don't know what everybody else has. Yeah. I was like, I mean, the only thing that's stopping you back from this is basically, do you have a degree?
Same. I've said the same thing. His is going to be top notch.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't get in, I'll be surprised.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where like I was thinking at OTS or ROTC, if this was me going through having a spouse at the time, and kids were on the table, and then I basically had to put a pause in there. I was like, no, like we cannot do this. Like I cannot be a broke college kid. You cannot be a broke college kid. We cannot be two broke college kids, surviving off ramen while trying to have like a third member.
Yeah.
I don't need a baby Coonrod running around. I'm enough to deal with, So that and my wife's pretty bougie. She's like, I could live off peanut butter and jelly, and it's like that's Smucker's. Yeah. That's name brand. Like no, we don't eat that around here. We eat the one that just says jelly.
Exactly.
It doesn't tell you what's inside of it. It doesn't say strawberry or grape. It just says jelly.
Yeah.
So that definitely would have like stopped me from going to ROTC because I think you can kind of understand like when you have all these other obligations on you, it is so much harder to try to take that risk of I can do this. I'm going to invest because like you have these priorities and these obligations. So like I appreciate you sharing that. But like if you could real quick into the camera show me about how thick that OTS packet is.
Sarmacinas is pretty thick. I mean, it's pretty thick. I mean, so he has to submit it through some website. I forget what it is, but he can't even combine it. He has to like break it down because the files are so big.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
and this is the modern age where like we can send gigabytes of information.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
That's cool. Well, the Air Force still works on the 1945.
They don't know what floppy disks are, so they're not going to catch this joke. But whenever we're going to go way back. We're talking about the assignment. So you've been to Robins Air Force Base. Mm-hmm. Did you choose to come here?
Actually, I did. So Kuwait was my second deployment. So I was 3 months into Kuwait. Nothing against Robins. I'd just been there for too long, I thought. Mm-hmm. I could probably stay there a little bit longer, but I thought I was there too long. So I was on, it wasn't my AMS, which is now My Vector, talent marketplace. So I was on AMS, which is a assignment management system for us enlisted, and I was just going down, seeing what I qualified for, and I never heard of ROTC. And it just kept popping up. It was like ROTC Detachment, Texas, Kentucky, all
Texas
of these.
Sounds cool.
And I'm just like, man, what is ROTC? I've never even heard of this.
Was there no ROTC for Hawaii? Like, I'm just asking.
I mean that would have been cool, but at the time there's only like a couple. I've never told you guys this, but when I was on baby leave, my dad actually passed away.
Oh,
he had terminal cancer. Sorry, I didn't want to make this an emotional thing, so I'm not. Dad had terminal cancer. He passed away on November. But when I was in Kuwait, it was 2021, I want to say. Yeah. So I wanted to be closer with him as he went through this whole process. So Texas was the closest space I could come to be closer to him. So I applied, and not even like 2 weeks later, I got the assignment. But I am so grateful. I don't want to make this a sad moment, but I'm so grateful that I did, because this assignment has been so awesome. You guys make coming here such a great time. Yeah. And some cadets may not realize it now, but I think they will once they get out. But you guys have me aside, you guys have such great cadre members here. So much knowledge, so much time in service. If you guys aren't leaning on them and asking them questions about their time in service and things like that, which I think this is the reason why you guys are doing this. Yeah. Then you're wrong. So this assignment has been a blessing. It has. I have gone through some bad times as far as my personal life, but this assignment has been a blessing.
No, and I just want to say, thank you for sharing that. That's pretty heavy. I don't think anyone was really ready to kind of hear that, and I think I can speak basically for the detachment and say, we're really sorry to hear that. But we will say that we're really grateful for not only your dedication to your job, but to us, your resilience to show up and put on a smile and not let us know you're having a bad day. And I think that we can all take a little bit from that and saying, you were focused on the bigger picture. You were being the example of what, you're expecting out of your future leaders. So, I mean, I'm no spokesperson for Detachment 835, but thank you. Yeah. Thank you for showing up and doing what you did for us. Yeah. But I think we're about to get the hook here. So I just want to say to everyone, thank you for stopping by at Live 835. If you haven't already stopped what you're doom scrolling, go ahead and hit subscribe. We're out.